Hi, this is Rev Ed with today's Back Porch Devotional from Psalm 19, verses 5 and 6. In the heavens he has set a tent for the sun, which comes out like a bridegroom leaving his chamber, and like a strong man runs its course with joy. Its rising is from the end of the heavens, and its circuit to the end of them, and there is nothing hidden from its heat. David is continuing to describe the beauty and the power of the natural world, and he is using it all as a sign to point to the God who has created this beautiful natural world and who rules over all things. And in these two short verses, he focuses on the sun, which he says comes out of a tent in the morning. He describes the night essentially as a tent that the sun slips into at night to rest, and then comes out in the morning and runs across the sky like a strong man running on a race course. It is a beautiful image. It's a personification of the sun, but it's important to notice that there is no deification of the sun. All the nations around Israel from the time of its founding, and I guess in some places today, they worshiped the sun as a god. They worship the sun and the moon and the stars. And David reminds us that the sun is simply an instrument created by God for his purposes. And the course that is set for the sun has been determined by God. There is no authority that the sun has that has not been given to it by the Lord. And that authority is simply to shed light and heat. And what we have to be mindful of is that just as the sun shines its light on everything, nothing is hidden from its light or its heat, so too we can extrapolate and think about the one who created the sun. Nothing is hidden from his sight, and everything is under the grace of God, which covers the whole world and all the people in it. You know, we talk about grace as the instrument of our salvation, and so it is. But there's also a thing that theologians like to call common grace. I'll just give you a perfect example. This is a beautiful fall morning. It's about 50 degrees and the birds are chirping and the air is crisp and clean. It's a beautiful day. And you know what? Whether you believe in God or not, you get to enjoy this day. This is a sign to us of God's common grace, the stuff that he shares with everybody simply because he's a good God. So in the same way that the sun shines its light on, as Jesus said, the just and the unjust, so God sheds his grace and mercy over the whole world. The light of the sun also reveals things. There's nothing hidden from it. And we have to remember that nothing is hidden from God's eyes. There is nothing that is hidden that won't be revealed at the end of all time, and that God's truth is going to prevail over all things. So every time we witness the sun making his run across the heavens, we need to remember that there is one far greater than the sun, the one who has assigned a role to the sun. And when we think about the light and the heat that come from the sun, we can think about God's blessings on every human creature. And we can also remember that ultimately, God is our light. This is the image that we are given at the end of all things in the 22nd chapter of Revelation, where John sees this beautiful vision of what's going on in the New Jerusalem. And he says, "No longer will there be anything accursed, but the throne of God and the Lamb will be in it, and his servants will worship him. They will see his face, and his name will be on their foreheads. And night will be no more. They will need no light of lamp or sun, for the Lord God will be their light, and they will reign forever and ever." The sun has a function to fulfill, but ultimately all light, all true light, all enlightenment comes from the Lord alone. And so as we enjoy the sunshine today, let us celebrate and worship the one who created the sun and who created us to enjoy this beautiful world. We can thank God for the light of his truth and the warmth of his grace, which cover all things. And it is up to us to respond to those things in a way that glorifies God, that we might know the joy that belongs to those who belong to God. Look at the sun today, not directly, of course, but look at the sun and give glory to the one who created it and who created us. All things serve him, and all things ultimately will glorify him one way or another. God's blessings be upon you this day.